Welcome all of you. Is my volume loud and clear?
Yeah, it's loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvanmelitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today I am beginning the first verse. You can see the heading I have given here, from me to we consciousness. So it's a very important topic. The very opening of the Bhagavad Gita begins with this theme, very first theme. So, in the first chapter, before we go to that verse, one very fundamental thing that His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, talks in his purport, I want to bring up that point first, and then we go to the shloka, okay? See here, the verse is shown here. Sayevayam mayatedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. I have underlined one word in the verse, if you see, rahasyam. It's a very confidential knowledge. The knowledge about the Supreme Lord, the knowledge about our relationship with the Supreme Lord. It's a very confidential knowledge. And who can understand it? He says, Bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hetadutama. You can only understand it if you are a bhakta, if you are a devotee. So that is the reason why in my previous session I was speaking about the pratyaksha and anumana. Those two things very elaborately we spoke in the last class. Pratyaksha means what we perceive with our direct senses. For example, a railway line appears to be converging for our naked eyes, but it is never converging at all. It is parallel, but it appears to be converging. So my pratyaksha knowledge tells me that it is converging, but it is actually not true. So therefore, there we discussed about the 4 defects. So now I'm going to show you a small series of slides, after which we will enter into this. Just a minute. You can see this? Is it coming? Okay. Yeah. Last time I told you these things, if you remember. I was talking about the pratyaksha, and then I was talking about anumana, means the speculation or hypothesis about the shabda is the Vedas, Vedic truths. I said all these things, that how they are, they all have stood the test of time. And man is now like a kind of returning back to the roots to understand how these things are true, whether plants have life or Vedic embryology or cow dung is antiseptic. So these things I was talking last time. So these 4 defects I showed you last time. I showed you many examples for this. So to imperfect senses, because of imperfect senses, we are illusion. Like I may think of a rope to be a snake, and I'm subjected to the illusion because of imperfect senses. And when I'm illusion, then I commit mistakes. And then then when I commit mistakes, then I may try to hide the mistake, which is actually called cheating propensity. To put it more precisely, Srila Prabhupada calls it as inability, insanity, errors, and cheating. These are the 4 defects: inability, insanity, errors, and cheating. Because of these 4 defects, we are not able to perceive the truth as it is in this world. For example, there are things which you see with your eyes, but you don't believe. For example, I told you the railway line appears to be converging. You know it's not. Similarly, if you look into a concave mirror or a convex mirror, your body shape will be either extremely fat or extremely slim. And you know that what your eyes are showing you is not true. You are seeing it, it's not true. You know for sure. And there are other things which you don't see, but you have strong faith that they exist. For example, alpha rays, beta rays, gamma rays, X rays, AM waves, FM waves, or there are many things, like even the wind, it's existing. Now somebody may argue that we can find their existence in some way. For example, you can see an X-ray on a photographic plate. You can see that. So we know it exists, although we can't see with our naked eyes. And somebody may argue like that. Yes, it is true. For example, the electron cannot be seen with eyes, but the light emanating from electron falling on a cathode ray tube, that is observable. Only the reflection of an electron on a CRT. It's called inferential logic, we call it. Same manner, the unseen God can be observed from the seen things which we see existing. For example, if I put some iron filings on the top of a paper and I take a magnet and I rotate it, all the iron filings will move. By this movement, I can know that there is something that is moving it all. Like that. Similarly, you see the sun is moving, the seasons are changing, flowers are blossoming, the fruits are ripening, the grains are growing. So it's a very lively world we are living in. And by observing these movements, we can know that somebody is moving it all. Somebody is making it happen. You are not doing it, I am not doing it. Someone is doing. So that's called inferential logic. Just as you cannot catch an electron with your hand, but you know electron exists based on the reflection on an CRT tube, cathode tube. Same manner, God's presence can be understood. Similarly, our presence also as a spirit within this body can be easily understood. How if I pinch you, you feel pain. If I give some sweet to eat, you feel pleasure. You can very easily perceive it. And there are various scientific ways to understand the presence of the soul, which I will describe when we come to the 2nd chapter of the Gita. I will talk more at that time. But the point is, you will see that there are things which we don't see, but we know they exist. Like I told you, X-rays, alpha rays, beta rays, all those things. So there are things you see, we don't believe. There are things which you don't see, but you believe. That's because our senses don't give perfect information. So imperfect senses, to be illusion, tendency to commit mistakes, and cheating propensity. We discussed it all elaborately last time. So now somebody may ask now, so my friend, then how, just see how 4 defects keep us blind to the truth. Is there no other way other than to know through pratyaksha and anumana? The answer is, yes, there is a 3rd way, which is Shabda Praman, hearing from a bona fide authority, which is the Vedic wisdom. So let us know more about what this is today. See, Lord Krishna says here, hearing in parampara, sound is
are
coming.
not as well known for presenting historical and scientific knowledge as they are for expounding subtle sciences such as the power of mantras. We all recognize the power of sound itself by its effects, which can be quite dramatic. Here, a high-pitched frequency shatters a drinking glass. So, we can easily understand that loud sounds can produce substantial reactions. It is commonly believed that mantras can carry hidden power, which can in turn produce profound effects. The ancient Vedic literatures are full of descriptions of weapons being called by mantra. For example, many weapons were invoked by mantra during the epic Kurukshetra war, wherein the Bhagavad Gita itself was spoken. The ancient deployment of Brahmastra weapons, equivalent to modern-day nuclear weapons, are described throughout the Vedic literatures. Additionally, mantras carry hidden spiritual power which can produce significant benefits when chanted properly. Indeed, the Vedas themselves are sound vibrations in literary form and carry a profound message.
Yeah. So the very meaning of the word Shabda actually means sound vibration, which is coming in the disciplic line. Like you see here, you have authorized college. Similarly, we have a parampara, we call it, which means knowledge coming from one teacher to the next teacher. Yeah. Yeah. And then the professors, then we have professors in colleges teaching. Similarly, we have teachers or Vedic professors. Yeah. And authorized books like the Vedic text like Bhagavad Gita. So you can see that, like when you go to a college, it's not that you start researching from your lower kindergarten or from your first standard or second standard. You study 10 years or 12, 2 more years, and then you go to undergrad, you go to postgrad, and postgrad there is some research which you may do. And then in doctorate, you do even more research. Otherwise, when you go to the college, you are given some books to accept. Yes, you have to read the books, understand them, go to the laboratory, do some experiments, and then study and understand it. So, like if you join electrical engineering, they give you a book, and one has to read and first understand. We don't invent the electricity as soon as you go to the college on the first day. You don't do that, isn't it? So, therefore, there are authorized books, authorized colleges or universities, authorized professors teach you. Same with Gita too. We have authorized. Therefore we call it the Guru Parampara, which is like a line, disciplic line in which this knowledge is coming down. Now here comes a very interesting point. Think about it. Say you go to a chemical laboratory, you find a glass of chemicals. A glass of chemical which looks like a lemon juice. You also find two pieces of freshly cut lemon, which is squeezed out. It appears that somebody has squeezed and made this lemon juice. It looks like that. So you are wondering, can I drink it? So it was a hot sunny day. Let me drink this lemon juice. But you may not drink mostly. You will ask the laboratory man, is it lemon juice? Can I take it? And imagine he tells you, this is not lemon juice. This is acid. If you put it in your tongue, it will make a hole in your tongue. So how did you think it's lemon juice? You may ask him, but what is this lemon piece lying nearby? He may say that I just finished my lunch. I forgot to clean the table. And then I made this glass of chemicals. You may say that. So, now you are saved because you heard from the authority instead of making a guesswork. So, therefore, Anumana is guesswork. Pratyaksha is direct sense perception or guesswork. These things can be very risky. Therefore, in a car they write, in the glass they write that objects which appear farther may be nearer. They write like that. You've seen that? Because the eyes cannot be trusted. Because the eyes sometimes show defective vision, as we told before. So now somebody may say, just because I cannot perceive directly or I cannot make guesswork, do you say I have to blindly accept whatever the Vedas are saying? Some people ask like that. Yeah, you don't have to blindly accept. Here also you can have a reasonable faith. What is reasonable faith? It is sensible and very verifiable to considerable level. For example, you go to a doctor, you check his degree, credentials, and then only you go to the doctor, isn't it? In the same manner, in the Vedas also, what they are saying, that's the reason I presented you many evidences from the Vedas, like cow dung is antiseptic. It's proven now by science. In the same manner, plants have life. It's proven by Jagdish Chandra Bose now. Vedic embryology and modern day Cunningham book of anatomy, they are saying the same thing. So in this way, we can see that, yeah, yeah. So we can actually see that many of the Vedic truths are becoming true. Otherwise, why all over the world the yoga has become so popular? It's from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It's from the Vedas. Why the pranayama, breathing exercises in yoga have become popular? Why Vastu Shastra has become popular? Why is NASA referring to the Vedic pages who are knowing about the high strength to weight metals? They are referring, they want to learn from Vimana Shastra. So last week, I gave all of you a file called Vedas and Science. Swapnil, have you sent them all? That one?
Yes, bro. We have shared.
So you all some of you might have gone through it. If you haven't, my humble request to you, go through it. You will get a lot of valuable information about how the Vedic truths are true. And they are becoming more and more true now. With the advancement of science, they are realizing that they are becoming more and more true. And that's what gives us confidence in the Vedic information. It's called as credibility, we call it. Because the Vedas acquire more credibility in our eyes when we see that. See here, advanced knowledge in the Vedas, like Vimana Shastra.
University of California at Irvine, April 2017. Aerospace engineer Travis Taylor has obtained a model of an aircraft whose design specifications are based solely on information gleaned from ancient Indian texts that are believed to have been formally set to writing in 500 BC. He is going to subject it to wind tunnel analysis to determine if it is a viable flying machine. The aircraft model, created using details garnered from the ancient Indian texts, has proven to be flight-worthy. Is it possible that by studying the ancient Indian texts, we may be able to recreate advanced technology that existed thousands of years ago in India? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the texts may also contain details for advanced spacecraft.
So there are many things like this. I just showed you. Actually, the Vedic text suggests that they have been using mercury. Mercury is a metal, but it's also a liquid. So by a fast rotation of mercury, the flying saucers were made to fly. So the Vimana Shastra has given detailed account of that. I only showed you a small part in the detailed. If you want to know more about Vimana Shastra, you will see that in the material which I have supplied you already. Go through it at your leisure. Yeah. You see, there is also predictions in the Vedas like this. When will Gautam Buddha appear? When will Chanakya appear? When will Emperor Ashoka appear? All these are prophesied. Even about the appearance of Jesus, appearance of Prophet Muhammad, appearance of Lord Chaitanya. These are given in specific Vedic literatures, information prior to their taking birth in this world. So,
the Vedas are amongst the oldest religious scriptures known to mankind and are the source of India's spiritual and cultural heritage. At first glance, the multifaceted culture of the Vedas is a foreign and fascinating mystery to the Western eye. Yet upon deeper examination, we discover a wealth of philosophical, cultural, and social values. India is renowned the world over for the practice of yoga, which increases one's mental and physical strength. However, this is only a fraction of what the Vedas can offer to a progressive global community. India's culinary arts, music, natural medicine, and other sciences are only now becoming known to the West. Conceivably the world's oldest holistic design system, the Vastu Shastra predates and inspired the popular Chinese system of feng shui. The design of a temple, house, or workspace has been proven to exert a considerable influence on one's well-being. The Vastu Shastra was compiled specifically to address this concern and offers practical architectural guidelines. This style of sacred architecture has been implemented in the building of India's largest temples for thousands of years. The sculptures adorning these temples reflect the development and accomplishments of one of man's oldest civilizations. They depict the struggles, failures, and successes of the men who made them the center of their lives. The sophisticated Vedic sciences of astrology, astronomy, cosmology, and metaphysics profoundly influenced the Greeks, Babylonians, and even contemporary scientists with their unparalleled knowledge. Ancient Vedic sages presented precise calculations a millennium before Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and Einstein.
Okay. So you got an idea about different fields we talked about, isn't it? So now we are specifically discussing Bhagavad Gita. You can
Aloha
hear
and namaste. 2020 is certainly a year that will not soon be forgotten. For most, if not all of us, it has brought about many unexpected changes. The uncertainty that this year has brought has made me personally reflect upon the time that I spent deployed in the Middle East. That too was a time in my life when there was danger at every step. Each day brought new uncertainties, and likewise, many lives were lost. My shelter then and now has been the Bhagavad Gita, which means Song of God. The Bhagavad Gita spoken by Sri Krishna is full of transcendental wisdom that is as relevant today as it was 5,000 years ago when it was spoken. When we are blown here and there by the strong winds of change, when giant waves are crashing upon us, when we're feeling unsteady, lost, adrift, the Bhagavad Gita offers us guidance and hope. Looking at our problems through the prism of eternality, rather than merely identifying with our temporary material circumstances, gives us an anchor that offers great peace, purpose, and stability through even the most trying of times. May we always be blessed with remembrance of Sri Krishna, his unconditional love, and his transcendental appearance in this world. Jaya Shri Krishna.
So, this Tulsi Gabbard's message was very appealing to me for one reason. Because all of us, we certainly want knowledge, we are looking for wisdom. But the goal of knowledge or wisdom ultimately is to find out why are we suffering? How can we become happy? How can we be happy now and be happy forever? And what is the meaning of this universe in which we are living in? Is it existing without any rhyme or reason? Or is there any goal of life? What brings us suffering? What is the root cause of suffering? So these kind of questions are answered in the Bhagavad Gita. So at the end of, like for example, why do you go to college? Why do you want to get educated? Because you want to get educated, fetch a job, earn money, and bring happiness to yourself and to your family members. Our science is advancing. Why? To alleviate miseries or to put a full stop to miseries, if possible. So you will see that science wants to increase comforts, luxuries, facilities, amenities. Science also wants to stop the suffering. Science wants to figure out what is this world. Are there any dangers for us? How we can offset the dangers? Science also wants to do research to find out what is beyond. We can't see what is existing in those planets. What are the stars? What are these planets? The world in which you are living in. So there is a curiosity. So in this way, you will see in Gita there is an answer to all these things. See here, if you accept axioms in science, then why can't you accept Vedic axioms? There are many axioms, like you can see. If you ask any mathematician, what is the root of -1? He will say that exists on an ij plane. I equal to root of -1. Based on that, the whole complex geometry has developed. And nobody will tell you the value of root of -1. Similarly, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says that simultaneously you cannot determine the position and velocity of an electron. Isn't it? That's an axiom. Similarly, the law of thermodynamics In thermodynamics, it is said that 0 Kelvin is not possible to be achieved. You can achieve 0.1 or 0.2, but you can't achieve the 0 Kelvin. Although this theorem is there, it's accepted. Which means, when you talk about axiom means self-evident truth. That's the meaning of axiom, self-evident truth. It doesn't require any proof. The Vedas also say that what they are presenting is self-evident truth. Now, somebody may say, but how do we know? Is it not a blindly accepting thing? No. For example, Vedas said long before, there are two types of living beings. One is moving, another one is non-moving. So they said the non-moving living beings are the trees and plants. The moving are the humans and animals and birds. Now, this was said million years ago, but now, 1903, Jagdish Chandra Bose proved that plants are non-moving living beings. Before that, everybody thought there are plants have no life at all, isn't it? So, and the Vedas also talk about microbes, that very tiny creatures also exist. Whereas science only came to know that in 16th century, when one of the scientists found that if you have an electron microscope, you can see the germs in the hand. So in this way, there are many things unknown to science, which was eventually discovered by science, which is already mentioned in the Vedas. So, these are the 4 sampradayas you see here. Shri Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya. And all these are prominent teachers like Ramanuja, Madhva, Vishnu Swami and Nimbarka Swami. And they have handed over the knowledge in this line. So in all these 4 sampradayas, they teach about all these truths which I am talking to you. Like, for example, who is God? Who am I? Why did God create this world? What is my loving relationship with Him? So all these things are detailed knowledge is given. And the most amazing thing is, all the 4 sampradayas, they are giving the same truth. And they have been coming down since time immemorial. It's coming down. This reference is given in Padma Purana. Like you see here, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, means the knowledge was revealed by the Supreme Lord within the heart of the first created being, Brahma. It is said. Brahma is actually the first created living being in this universe. And then he hands over the knowledge down in the disciplic line. About this, Srila Prabhupada talks about it, about the chain.
We haven't got to manufacture something. We simply repeat the words and the instruction given by the predecessor. Krishna instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narad, Narad instructed Vyasdev, Vyasdev instructed Madhyacharya, and in this way, then Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis, then the Srinivasa Acharya, Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then we are doing the same thing. There is no difference. That is the specific procedure of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Yeah. So, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the Guru Parampara here, as you heard it. Now, why should we hear in Guru Parampara? I will tell you the reason. Say, for example, if a particular item, say in India, we use a chalk piece to write on the board. Chalk piece is white in color. Imagine I take a white pen and I show it and ask the people, and I'm standing next to a blackboard. I'm asking, what is this? Children may say, oh, sir, you have a chalk piece in your hand, because you're standing next to the board. And they tell one child, this is not a chalk piece, this is a pen. And that person tells the next one, it's a pen, it's a pen, it's a pen, it's a pen. And all the students in the class can come to know that the teacher is holding a pen in the hand, not a chalk piece. And this is how the knowledge is passed down in parampara, by hearing. It's called Shabda Praman. It is called as you have to hear, and then you see the truth. And then eventually you'll be able to see the truth. For example, see, See, there is a closed room. I hear some noise coming from there. I think, what is going on? It appears like somebody is shouting. Are they quarreling? That may be one guess. Another guess may be, maybe somebody is practicing drama. That is also possible. Or there is another possibility. There may be a, TV going on inside. That's another possibility. There are multiple possibilities. Unless you open the room, you will not come to know. Or you have to hear from somebody inside the room who is already knowing what is happening inside. So, according to the Vedas itself, it says that the knowledge given by God is free from 4 defects, which we told you. 4 defects are with us, not with God. God is supremely enlightened. So the enlightened one can reveal the knowledge to one who is covered over or not enlightened. So we firmly believe in the knowledge descending in the divinity line. And how do you know that? I don't say that you have to accept it in totality blindly. You can't verify it. You can verify it. There are 9 stages for attaining love of God. First stage is having a little faith in what you are hearing. And then secondly, you develop a faith good enough to associate with saintly people. And thirdly, you take to some spiritual practices like mantra meditation. Fourthly, you can clearly see all bad habits flee far away. Just like when you switch on a light in a dark room, the darkness is driven away. Immediately it's lit up by light. Like that, your heart becomes enlivened, enlightened, and engladdened. You will see that. Then all bad habits go far away. Then you start developing a taste. And the taste becomes attachment to God, Lord, Supreme Lord. And it comes to a stage where one feels ecstatic waves of joy in relation to Supreme Lord. And at that time, the vision also becomes very clear. Whatever you heard as true, now they come to be seen as true. So the seeker becomes a seer in that stage. So there are several stages. Now I am practicing for the last 3 decades now. So what is my confidence in this path, what I am practicing? Because they promised 9 stages. Now I have completed a few of the stages. Now I am looking back, whatever has been taught to me is true. I have crossed those stages. Now there are some more stages ahead. I am pretty confident that I will go through those stages, because these stages, what they promised, has turned out to be true for me. And if I just persist in this path, I am getting closer and closer to the absolute truth. I can see a royal road laid in front of me. On the other extreme end of the road, I can see the absolute truth, what is promised in the scriptures. I just have to walk through this road faithfully, sincerely, by practicing this path. So therefore, just as in science also, your teacher will request you, please read this book, please understand it, please attend the classes, give the tests and exams. And you can also go to laboratory and conduct the experiment to verify what you are saying is true or not. Same thing. Here also you hear the classes. And our laboratory is like we do this chanting of mantra meditation. We do with the japa beads, we do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The meaning of this mantra is, O Supreme Lord, please accept me. I am yours, but I have fallen from a spiritual plane to a material plane. Like rainwater is pure in a spiritual plane. When it falls to the ground, it becomes muddy. Now I have become covered over. Please kindly pick me up and keep me with you. That's the meaning of this mantra. Oh, all attractive Lord, please take me back to you. That's the meaning. So you chant this mantra, and you read the scriptures, and you follow the pure principles being taught, and you will see yourself going through the stages, and you can see the truth for yourself. Actually, I'm not telling you all the Sanskrit technical words. It's called as pratyaksha, paroksha, aparoksha, adoksha, aprakrita. There are 5 stages of opening of our eyes, inner eyes. As I told you, the seeker becomes a seer. So those promised stages will be experienced and realized by every one of you. If you persist, continue, and learn, ask questions, and you keep growing. Yeah. So here, 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva, Lord himself appears as Vyasadeva, and he put it in record, because earlier it was coming down in sound vibration. 5,000 years ago, he put it down in writing so that people in this age, which is called as a Kali Yuga now, which is going on now currently, those people can read and remember, otherwise they may forget. So 5,000 years ago, he did that. And then as you see here, here is a very brief Shruti and Smriti, the broad division is shown here. There are many subdivisions in that. There are Vedas, Upavedas, Vedanga. Similarly, in Smriti, there are many detailed things. The Vedas are pretty exhaustive. There are 1 lakh verses in the Vedas. And studying all of them may probably take our whole life. But the good news for you is you don't have to go through all of this. Sripad Shankaracharya, he says that the quintessence of all the Vedas is the Bhagavad Gita, which we are learning now. He says that if you compare all this Vedic literature to a cow, and when you milk the cow, the essence of the cow is the milk. And if the calf gets to drink the milk, the calf gets nourished also. Similarly, the essence of all the Vedic literature is the Gita. And once you read Gita, you know the essence of all the Vedic literature, like that he says. So, here is Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON Society. He came to America in the year 1965 on the order of his guru. He thought that why should the Vedic knowledge be confined to only a small group of people in India? The whole world deserves to listen to it, because ultimately all are God's children. Our Krishna consciousness movement teaches that there is one supreme God in the top, and all the living beings are his children. Not only humans, even animals, even birds, even reptiles, everybody. All living beings are his children. And he is one supreme. And we want to make all living beings happy. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu. So somebody asked Prabhupada, why do you preach this message of Gita? He said, to make everyone happy. To awaken everybody to the love for God. And by that pure love, experience happiness. When there is pure love in our heart, we experience happiness. So he wrote almost 100 books, he wrote, small books. And he also wrote the commentary to Bhagavad Gita as it is, which we will be using. If any of you don't have a copy, our Swapnil will give you the link. You can click and get a copy of the Gita. And the parampara is shown here. So this we already did that last time. If you have someone who has eyes to see what the elephant is, he can actually tell the 6 blind men, you are catching the tail and thinking it's a rope. It's not a rope, my friend. The total elephant looks like this. Imagine these 6 blind men, they sat down and they heard from a person with eyes, then they will understand the total picture of how the elephant looks like. Similarly, when we hear in the parampara, the disciplic line, the totality of truth becomes very crystal clear for us. Yeah, they are talking of truth, but part of truth they are talking. Whereas the full truth can be told by someone who has the eyes to see, isn't it? So these things we saw, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda, these things we saw. Now with this background, we can go to this one. That very ancient science of relationship, the Supreme is today told by me to you, Arjun, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of the science, you say. So here Lord Krishna in the Gita is revealing this knowledge to Arjuna, and while speaking this knowledge, Krishna says this. See, in the subsequent slides I am going to show you what Lord Krishna said about himself, and he also showed about himself. Like here you see, he says, this is a shloka verse, Prakritim swamavashtabhya visrajame punah punah bhutagramamimam kritsnam avasham prakriter vashat. He is saying, the whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. Under my will, it is annihilated at the end, he says. Which means his universes are created from him, and he says universes are withdrawn by him. He says that.
All the 3 worlds, both spiritual and mundane. Everything rests in me, Arjun, just as you see pearls hang upon a thread.
Like that he says. Just like you see, I have a mala in my neck here. All these things are put together. These beads are all put together by one nylon thread. If I would remove the nylon thread, they will all get carried away, isn't it? Like that he says in this world, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, and even within the planet like Earth, the details like, for example, the crops that grow, the flowers that blossom, the fruits that ripen, and all the people, living beings living peacefully. So all these things, he says, everything is organized by him and managed by him very easily. So he says that with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe, he says. He says in the Gita, when he speaks to Arjuna. Not only that, in the 11th chapter of the Gita, Krishna manifests his universal form. What is universal form? Everything in the universe was present in his body. At that time, you can see it is glowing like thousands of suns. So, Lord Krishna showed this form to Arjuna, and Arjuna didn't know where is it beginning, where is it ending. It is like millions of heads and millions of hands and legs. Lord showed, this is my universal form. Whatever I told you in this world is existing. Everything is present in one body. He showed that. Like in this world, you see beauty, wealth, knowledge, strength, fame, and renunciation. Where are these coming from? The world we are living in, it's not like a flotsam and jetsam. It is actually having specific opulences. You agree? There is beauty. There is somebody who is extraordinarily wealthy, or genius of the century, like Einstein. Somebody is very strong. Average people are not so strong. So you will find that these opulences, Krishna says, are coming from him. In this verse, he says that, Arjuna, know that all opulent and beautiful, glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor, he says. Like you see the beautiful peacock dancing with its peacock feather. In this way, there are like the sweet voice of the cuckoo, the beautiful dance of a peacock, or the tasty foods. So he says that whatever attractive things you find in this world, they all are coming from me, he says. Here you say that. So as I showed you just now, the Vedas give account of Krishna revealing the entire universe in his mouth when he was a small baby, a small kid. Once his brother, elder brother Balarama, told that Krishna ate mud. So mother wanted to examine him. So asked him to open his mouth. And when he opened, inside that mouth, she saw the universe which I showed you with all its details. Now, why did I show you these two things now? The previous slide I showed you Krishna exhibiting Vishwarupa Darshan, which was external, which is shown in the battlefield of Kurukshetra to Arjuna. Krishna expanded his body to show the entire universe contained in him, resting in him. And now to his mother, he opened the mouth, and inside also he showed the universe within his belly. So in this way, he not only claimed that he is God, he actually revealed these kind of things which are recorded in the scriptures. He just like here, this is one more picture, you see, Markandeya, he establishes in another Vedic literature, which is called Mahabharata. There are two great epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana. Two great epics. In that Mahabharata, Markandeya Rishi is a very ancient and very great sage. He is revealing to the Pandavas, one day he was telling, like you see in the picture here, Markandeya Rishi said that once I was caught up in the waters of cataclysm. At the time I was swimming and swimming and swimming. It was, there were huge waves of water coming from all sides, engulfing me. I was afraid, I thought I'm going to die. But then I swam and got extremely tired. My body was full of bruises. When I was extremely tired, I saw an island in which I saw a banyan tree. And in the banyan tree leaf, I saw this child, blue child. He was lying in this fashion as you see here. And I swam close to the child and I felt great joy seeing this like blue sapphire. He was looking very attractive and charming with curly locks of hair. I asked him, my dear child, who are you? And the child smiled. I said, he inhaled me. I went into his belly. And inside the belly, I saw the same things. I saw the waters of dissolution. And the whole universe is within his belly. And when he exhaled me, I was thrown out. I came out. Then the child spoke to me. my dear great sage Markandeya, he said, my dear child Markandeya, child called me a child, he said. And he said, I am the most ancient one, Param Purush or Purushottam. People call me Krishna, people call me Vishnu, people call me Rama. They call me by different names. And I bless you with two boons. He said, one, you will have unfailing memory. And you will always remember this. And you can die at will. Whenever you wish to die, that time you can die. So it's called Ichamrityu. I give you these two benedictions. And then Lord disappeared after that. And then Markandeya Rishi told the Pandavas, my dear Pandavas, don't think this Krishna who is moving amidst you like a cousin brother, don't think of him to be an ordinary human being. He is the supreme truth himself. But he is playing the part of your cousin brother just to exchange affection with you. Remember, this is the supreme truth, he said. So this is another pastime which Markandeya Rishi. So three I have shown you. One, I showed you the Vishwarupa, the universal form, Vishwarupa Darshan. One inside the belly he showed to Mother Yashoda. This is the third one I told you. And great personalities like Madhvacharya. He's a very great Acharya. These people have millions of followers whom they taught and trained in Bhakti. This is Ramanujacharya. He is also one of the Sampradaya Acharyas who worships Krishna in a reclining pose. Is Shankaracharya. And in this way you will find, these are all great Acharyas who worship Krishna with great devotion. See what Shankaracharya says here. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karma Apyekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Here as the picture shows here, he says Ekam Shastram, let there be one book Bhagavad Gita, he says. Let there be one supreme, understood by all worship as Devaki Putra means Krishna, he says. Mantra, let Krishna's name, mantra be the main mantra which everybody chants. And karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva means let all people render devotional service to Sri Krishna. Like that Shankaracharya says in Gita Mahatmya, 7th verse, he says that. So, you can see all the acharyas, like Madhvacharya, Ramanacharya, Shankaracharya, all the great acharyas are glorifying him as supreme. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago, he also worshipped Krishna in the form of Jagannath. Same is Krishna. So, in this way you find this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Vedic literatures say that there is one capital God, one who is supreme. But through many, many administrators of this universe, he is managing the sun, the moon, the rains, and all the facilities and amenities in this world. Just like you have a president of your country. But then he is not alone. He has many people to assist him, assisting hands, through whom he is getting all the things done, isn't it? So in this way, Vedic literatures confirm his supremacy. And then that Lord Krishna expands in this form of Vishnu. And then he creates the first created living being, Brahma. Now, why is he creating this world? Now I am going to tell you something very interesting and important. Like, why this world is created by the Lord? You hear a story called Prodigal Son. This Prodigal Son story gives us to put it very briefly, long story cut short. A father has two sons. Elder son is obedient son and the younger son is a rebellious son. The younger son goes to, he wants to take the share of his wealth from the father. Father tells him, why do you want your share, my child? Whatever is with me, it all belongs to you. You can eat well, sleep well, have all the facilities. You two of you are my sons and everything I have is yours. But the second son says, no, my friends told me to take my share and I'm going to a faraway place to enjoy. So the father reluctantly gives his share. And his friends tell him, see, your father is reluctant to give you the share because he wants to control you. Now that you got your share, come, let's go and enjoy. So they call him, he goes to a faraway place where he eats, drinks and does merrymaking. He enjoys with women, loses all the gold coins. When all the money is gone, he becomes a penniless beggar. All the friends leave him and disappear. Nobody is around him now. Then he goes to a merchant to work under him in his farm, taking care of some 100 pigs. And the merchant says, whatever the pigs are eating, we eat the same thing. The low quality flour. So he becomes miserable. He cries out and says, oh my father, how loving you were, how kind you were. I rejected you and came here. Let me come back to you not as a son, but as a servant. I'll come and be with you. Thinking like that, he goes back home. So when he goes back, far from his expectation, the father embraces him and takes him inside the home. He gives him new slippers, new garments to wear, puts a gold ring in his fingers, and welcomes him with great delight, and invites all the family members to come and see my lost son has returned back. Father is very happy. So he is treated the same way as the father treated him long before as a son. Although he had already ruined his share, squandered all the wealth. You can see that. So what is the moral of the story? Any of you can guess what could be the moral? What could you guess from this story? Some equivalent to this in spiritual. Anybody would like to give a try? Any of you? Please, yeah. Was it clear when I spoke it? Yeah. I don't hear any sound. Yeah.
I can try.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can say.
Yeah, Sunit, you can try. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I can say that like God's heart is very big. Even if we commit mistakes or sins, He will always take us with Him. If we plead and if we accept our mistakes and surrender ourselves to His feet.
Yes, you are right. So in this story, the father represents whom? In this story which I told just now, prodigal son, the father represents whom? Yeah? God. Correct. It represents God, that's true. And two sons, the first son represents whom? And the second son represents whom? Anybody can try? Yeah? Yeah? That's a very important thing. Important part of the story. Whom does the first son represent? Whom does the second son represent?
Good and bad.
Yeah, correct. Who said that?
JK.
Jacob said that. Very good. The first son shows the, aligned son, aligned with the father. Those who are law abiders, and the second son shows the law breakers. So those who are law abiders, they actually live with, actually, what is the law of God? There is only one law. You just love God, that's all. That's the only law in the spiritual world. There's no other law. If you love Him, you don't have to worry about anything. And why God wants us to love Him? Say, for example, in the kitchen, sometimes a child wants to go and touch the fire. Mother says, hey, my dear child, don't touch the fire. Or you want to take a knife and cut the vegetables. Mother says, oh, my child, don't touch the knife. And the child wonders, why my mom is always correcting me, don't do this, don't do that. Actually, mom is correcting for our good. She knows that we will hurt ourselves. So she wants us to align with her for our good. That's the main purpose. Similarly, God also wants us to align with Him for our good. He doesn't want us to damage ourselves. Like in this world, you see people who have come here, people are smoking, causing lung cancer. People are drinking liquor, causing liver cancer, liver cirrhosis. So in this way, people are hurting themselves. God feels pain to see us hurting ourselves. Therefore, He has made those laws which are made for our welfare, our happiness. If we love Him and align with Him, we will be the most happy. That's for our good. So when God creates this world, it is created like a hospital for us. Now, what is the purpose of a hospital? Can anybody tell me? What's the purpose of a hospital?
Healing.
Healing. You are right. To cure. That's correct. So, what do you think that the living beings in this world need to be cured of? Anybody?
Bad.
What is it? Mad,
Bad things
bad
need to be healed.
Yeah, correct. The bad things have to be removed. And to put it more...
I would say that...
yeah?
Sorry for interruption. I would say that in this Kali Yuga, we should be cured of our sins, because you mentioned that when the rainwater falls, it is pure before it touches the ground. So like the same way, when we were not born, or when we were in the process of getting born to this earth, we got we may have in this world, when we entered this world, we got muddy.
Yeah, you are right.
So we started.
So we have to come back.
So
to
God,
yeah, we have to come back to the original purity. Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, can I say one thing? I think the prodigal sons remind me of we are stuck in a circle of life and death, and also heaven and hell. But our goal is to reach to the God.
Exactly. You're right. Brilliant point it is. Very good. So we are actually from a good pure plane, we have fallen to impure plane. Yes, Sunit.
Adding to his point, to attain moksha and free from the cycle of birth and death.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you. So you all are getting the subject very well. Very nice. So the one impurity that we are all suffering from when we come to this world is called as lust or enjoying spirit. Now, what is this lust? Lust means adamant desire for the prohibited. That's the definition of lust. That which is prohibited for us, we have an adamant desire to enjoy that. For example, a child may want M&M, M&M is tasty. M&M Cocoa chocolates, they're very tasty. But when the child keeps eating more and more of it, all the teeth will be gone. But you will see that if a child tastes it once, you give 1 or 2 gems, he wants 2 more, 4 more, wants a full packet, then he wants 2 more packets, 4 more packets, until all the teeth are gone. If he eats more and more, it's dangerous, but he wants to eat. If you don't give, he will be angry. That means lust is such a thing, child is adamant for it. If you feed more and more, then he wants more and more. That's called greed, we call it. Lust turns into greed. And if you don't give, he'll become angry. That means out of the 3 things, lust, anger and greed, lust is the only problem. Because lust, when it is fed, it becomes greed. When lust is not fed, it becomes anger. Is that clear to everybody? So you will see that adamant desire for the prohibited. For example, our wisdom literature teaches us that you have the right to marry if you wish. But once you marry, you live loyally with your wedded wife, and she is also chastely living with you. And you don't look at another woman as object of enjoyment. That is called illicit sex, we call it. Illicit sex means sex outside marriage or extramarital relationship, or sex before marriage or sex outside marriage. That is actually prohibited. So, but you find that nowadays people don't care for any prohibition. They just want to indulge with any number of people. That is actually going against the law. So you will see that there's an adamant desire for doing such things. Like, drinking liquor is not good, but there's an adamant desire in some people that at any cost I want to drink or smoke. So we all can see that in this world, that adamant desire for enjoying separate from God, and that is actually called lust. It becomes anger and greed also. So the goal of life is to turn lust into love. Then you dissolve lust and awaken love for God. That's all we have to do in this world. Now, if you see here, sorry, just 1 minute. Here, you can see till now I have been telling you about the divinity of Lord Krishna. Yes, there is a hand up of Jacob. Please go ahead, Jacob, please. I can't hear the sound. Can you unmute yourself, Jacob, and speak, please? Yeah? Yeah.
Wraps up everything that's good. Like we talked about, we're talking about like smoking, and which would kind of be related to drugs like marijuana. But also those things would have been co-evolved with us and provided by like the divine consciousness. So is it completely wrong like to partake under certain circumstances, or is it always?
Yeah.
Because why would he have provided certain things if he didn't want us to have them?
Yeah. Can someone help me to understand it? The voice is coming here. Only the voice is a little bit blurred for me. Can someone, Swapnil, you heard the question well?
I also couldn't clearly hear, but what I could understand is Jacob is asking, is it completely prohibited to take some things like chemicals that maybe they may have evolved with the passage of time, and God has Himself provided them to us? Chemicals such as drugs, maybe you were referring to drugs, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me make it easier for everybody. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So now, see, Jacob, how do you know what should be taken and what should not be taken? That which is harmful for your system should be avoided. For example, one boy was arguing with Srila Prabhupada, God created tobacco. That means He wants us to eat. Otherwise, why did He create? Like that, he asked the question. So Srila Prabhupada told him, okay, God created tobacco, but He also created Datura, poison, plant. There are poison plants also. God has created that. Would you eat poison? And the boy said, oh, definitely not. Then Prabhupada said, God has created both. If you're eating tobacco, you can also eat poison plant. The boy said, I will die if I eat that. And then Prabhupada said, yes. That means God has created both good and bad. You have to choose the good. He wants you to choose the right. Choose the good. So, even though something may be pleasurable, if it is harmful for our system, we should not take it in. We have to say no to it. It may titillate the tongue, but when it goes inside, it may be harmful to us. So then we avoid it. Is that clear?
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but like the poisons of a scorpion and things like that are used for meditative purposes, and there's an Ayurvedic medicine that has 7 poisons in it. So to me, it seems to be more a question of compulsion and dose.
If it is a medicine, it is all right. If it is Ayurvedic medicine and doctor has prescribed for you, that is perfectly fine. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your question. So, I was telling you about transforming lust into love today. That is actually the main theme. From I consciousness to we consciousness. Because now what is happening to the people in this world? Everybody is I centered. I centered means they think the whole world revolves around me, and everyone is meant to satisfy me, and they should be at my beck and call. That's what everybody thinks in this world. Even modern man in the textbooks gives us a feeling that actually I am in the center and the whole world is meant for my enjoyment. They think like that. And I told you in the previous class, Duryodhana and Pandavas. Duryodhana was having that enjoying spirit or exploitative, prohibited spirit. He thought that I am in the center and the whole world is meant for my enjoyment. He thought like that. Whereas the Pandavas thought Lord Krishna is the supreme divinity, and whatever He says we will do. And He is the center, and we all are meant to be a cooperator and be an assistant to Him. So these are two types of consciousness. One person thinks, I am the center, I am like God, everything is meant for my enjoyment. Another person thinks, actually God is the center and we are meant to cooperate with Him. For example, say we go to the kitchen and the mother says, my dear child, if you want to do something in the kitchen, pick up all the vessels and arrange it in the cupboard. And that way you can cooperate with me and assist me. But the child says, no, I won't do that. I will take a knife and cut the vegetables. Or I will go and touch the fire. So the child can do two activities. One is the prohibited activities, or child can do what mother wants the child to do. So we have to align with Lord's will and act in a way to please Him, not do the activities that are prohibited for us. Is that clear to everybody? So Duryodhana and Pandavas, if you see, Duryodhana wants to indulge in prohibited activity of usurping the kingdom of the Pandavas and enjoying it himself, about which I'll tell you more in the next class. Today I ran out of time, but the next class I will speak more on that. Now the foundation is very well established. Now we are entering into the Gita. We will be reciting the shlokas and we will be proceeding further. It will be very easy for the next class. And thank you for all of you. Very nice participation in the class today. And if you have questions, you are most welcome to send us and we will respond to that. Some of the questions I responded already to some of you through email. and we will also answer the rest of your questions. You are most welcome. So I look forward to meeting you all again next week, and we will continue with this theme which I concluded today. That is lust and love, and Duryodhana versus the Pandavas, and then this will help us to understand the first verse, very important verse about Kurukshetra battle, and then we will proceed further. So was it all right today? It was clear to everybody? Your participation and your answering the questions made me confident that you are catching the subject quite well. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. And then on the next class, I am also going to introduce the mantra meditation, and we will be chanting for a few minutes together. And I am also planning to begin with the kirtans in the next class, because all over US, I found that yoga and kirtan, the youths really love them because it is very soothing to the mind, calming to the mind. So I will begin with the 3 to 4 minutes of kirtan in the beginning, and I'll end next time with the 3 to 4 minutes of chanting, which is japa meditation. Both we will introduce it next time, okay? Looking forward to meeting you all again. Thank you. Hare Krishna.